Next speaker on my list is Mr. Francesc Castelltort of the Council of Europe. Please, you have the floor, Mr. Castelltort.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, many of us are here for the fourth time in the last 8 years to discuss together the HFA implementation advancement. However, this time, an additional challenge faces us. Apart from assessing what we have already actually achieved, or perhaps not achieved, we have to figure out what we can achieve during the following 10 years. That last point is crucial and requires our full attention. In order to make real new and attainable proposals, we have to move from a wish list approach, a more or less easy work, to a task list approach, far more risky and demanding, with the additional difficulty of anticipating the future environment we will face over the next 10 years. Climate change is a great contributor to such uncertain future environment, as it will affect very clearly most of the natural hazards we face. If such impact cannot be denied, its actual future impact and consequently the means required to cope with it may substantially vary, and such uncertainty is directly transferred to the area associated. Taking into account all that, the Council of Europe, with its 47 member states, and more specifically its European and Mediterranean Major Hazards Agreement, who gathers 26 of these 47 member states to develop a more specific activity in the domain of disaster risk reduction, wishes to pursue its work in promoting European citizens' protection, not only against human rights threats, which is its main mission, but also against the threats arising from natural and technological risks. In this aim, the Europa Agreement has used for the last 8 years what we can call now Yoga Framework of Action 1 as a reference for defining its own medium-term plans 2006-2010 and 2011-2015. The concrete contributions to this HFA1 over the years, I will not give you precise information, but you can find it in the successive European HFA progress reviews published by the United Nations ESDR Europe office. Nevertheless, we have two sides activity, one in terms of advocacy through recommendations to our member states, and the other one, technical works more related to practical international cooperation on domains. In view of the divergent level of achievement of each of the 5 HFA1 objectives, the agreement is convinced that HFA1 main messages are still, which is perhaps an important factor, pertinent. Consequently, HFA2 will not have to replace it, but rather complement and deepen it. Such complementary aspect is clearly illustrated by one of the topics emerging from the summary of the post-HFA dialogues, namely taking into account informally the climate change phenomena. HFA1 was defined when that new challenges was still underestimated for the ERR, and facts has proved that this is definitely a crucial issue for the future. The deepening of HFA1 can be illustrated by another main topic cited in the above-mentioned summary, namely the governance issue. Even when the advocacy on DRR was successful, the actual implementation of measures to move from the ideas to actions has often been confronted with issues related to governance and requires addressing them adequately in the future. To conclude my statement, I wish to confirm the Council of Europe commitment through its European and Mediterranean Major Hazards Agreement, not only to continue contributing to the definition of the final HFA2 objective, but also to participate in its implementation after 2015 in its regional area and within its specific mandate as cooperation platform between its member states. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Castelltort, for your contribution, and thank you also for reassuring us your commitment to the implementation of the Yoga Framework for Action and also for the continuation on the discussion on the 2015 framework.